Hi, in this video we will review the image map, uh, which is a widget that looks like a map, like Google Maps or Open Layers, but allows you to set the background image to whatever image you have. And you can on top set layers. One is the heat map, which we are seeing here, and you can set shapes or icons on top of it. Let's see how it's configured. Here blank map. The configuration is the URL or address, web address of an image that it will be loaded as the background. Then the heat max value, which is how hot is the maximum value you are going to set. Minimum, maximum x and y, because you will be sending x and y coordinates to set a dot on the image, and here you have to say which is the minimal value of your coordinate and the maximal one. And cluster distance, this is for when you have icons and you cluster them depending on the zoom level. On heat radius is how big the circles of heat are when setting a heat map. Let's see the configuration for it. It's really easy. You have to set the x coordinate, the y coordinate. ID is if you set twice a point in a different location with the same ID, it will move the old one to the new place. Value depends. For a heat map, it's the value how hot is that point, and type heat. Let's see what other options we have. It's on map, image map. Required XY, the type. You can set shape to draw a shape, heat to have a heat map, cluster to have clusters of points, an icon to have an icon, and depending on which one you pick, for shape you have to define the shape, if it's a rectangle or a circle. Icon, the path to the icon. For heat, how hot it is, and all this optional stuff. You can clear a specific layer, hide and show layers, which this is a really advanced widget. Let's go and replicate this on a new widget. This dashboard you're seeing here is the logistics dashboard on the load examples tab. Let's create a new one, image map example. For this we need the maps, widget maps extension. Let's go to design. We're going to use the sample event source. We will create an image map. We will have the default, which is the plant, and we will need a transformer. If we see now, we already have the image map, and we can zoom in, zoom out, or move around. But now let's add some content. So what we want to do is set x and y. We want to set heat, and for heat we have to set the weight, and for the x and y let's use random numbers because we don't have coordinates over here. So let's go to math, random integer from 1 to 100, x, y, and to avoid, of course, these coordinates you will get them from your event. Since we don't have any coordinates, we are generating them. And let's generate ID. So when time goes on, we don't get thousands of points. Let's generate only 100 points, and that should be it. So you can see we are already populating with points. Some may disappear and move. That's because we generated the same ID. You see, so it there, so it will move the old one to the new one. Now let's try using another type of layer. In this case, let's set x and y as before. Let's say icon, and required for icon is a path to an image. We can We can do some trick here because otherwise I will have to set something more. We already have the country code, so let's set the flags, which we tend to use on many of the demos, because we already have this utility, and we can so like that. It will be icon. Like before, we don't have coordinates. We could use some number from the event, like the amount or the random field, but we need two. So let's generate them from random numbers. And let's set the ID so we don't get thousands of flags. So let's generate only 10 flags. The ID could be the country code, but since we only want 10 flags and not more, we'll do it like that. You can see the flags start appearing in random places and they move around when the same number is generated twice. The flag will change because the number doesn't relate with the country code, so we can have more than one flag for the same country. And let's do the cluster. Like before, let's name it XY. The type for this case will be cluster, and for cluster we don't need nothing else because it's a cluster of dots. For ID we will do the same as before. Let's generate 50 points maximum and generate the coordinates randomly. This could be, for example, people moving around, for example, and then if you have a lot of people in the same place, they will cluster in a single point. Let's see. Now we can see 1, 2 are on that place. If we zoom in, they will split, see, and they will cluster when we zoom out. We have 8 over here, 3, and if we could zoom in, they will split. So it's a good way to show a lot of points in a map without being overwhelmed by the amount of dots. And the last one is shapes. In this case, we support 2 kinds of shapes, circles and rectangles. Let's try to do something with it. It will be a little bit more random than this. So we need a X and Y that will be like the center of the shape. We need to tell if it's a rectangle or if it's a circle, and let's say set the ID so we don't get a lot of shapes. Let's only generate 2 shapes at the same time. The width and the height, let's set it the maximum of 20. So the width would be between 3 and 20, the height will be between 3 and 20. And the X and Y will be between 1 and 100. That should be it. Let's see. We have the square over there, which tends to be small. A little bit bigger. And let's do a circle. We can duplicate this to avoid doing the same thing. For a circle is shape, it's radius instead of width and height. Let's remove this. Oops. Insert this one to radius and circle. This should be it. Let's say a little bit bigger. And now we have a circle over there moving around and some squares and flags and and clusters and a heat map. You can see it's quite useful and powerful. Let's make it a little bit bigger. So this was the image map, and if you create a source called selection event and you click on one of the images if you can, or on the clusters, you will get selection events for the things that you clicked, so you can react to it. If you see the template widget tutorial, you can see how to display extra information when the user clicks somewhere. So this was the image map. It's quite powerful, but it's easy to use. Everything works similarly. And if you have any questions, just comment on the YouTube comments or contact us on Twitter, Facebook, or via email, and we will happily reply. Bye.